Right then, lads, welcome back to Cossy Arsenal Podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. We're going to be diving into the latest around Arsenal. West Ham have confirmed to all candidates of their new role for Director of Football that Declan Rice is already sold. We're going to be diving into the interest in Bayern because it looks like Bayern cannot afford Declan Rice this summer. They only have around 159 million to spend, and their transfers are going to be very, very slow. But of course, we'll also be diving into the story of Viega. It looks like Chelsea and Liverpool are moving faster than Arsenal on Viega. Liverpool are looking to sign him, according to Jacob Steinberg of the Guardian, after signing Alexis Mac Allister. So we'll be diving into that as well. William Saliba's contract is very close, according to Kaya Kainak, senior football reporter at Football.London, and Rhys Nelson has also agreed a deal to sign until 2027 with Arsenal. Hit the like button. Let's get this video to 500 likes. Subscribe to the podcast as well. And I want to get your thoughts and opinions on William Saliba. Now, apparently, Saliba wants over 200,000 per week, in his contract to renew at Arsenal. According to reliable sources, Bukayo Saka is earning around 195,000 per week. That is guaranteed payments, and that rises up to 300,000 per week in a week where he does absolutely very, very well for Arsenal. So, should William Saliba sign 190,000 at Arsenal, or you feel that's a little bit too high? Is it too early? He's only had one very good season for Arsenal, but of course we know the kind of player he is, we know how important he is, and we know the talent that he possesses, we know the quality that he possesses. So what are your thoughts on William Saliba? On Saka, we all agreed on this channel that he deserves a new deal worth 200,000. But for William Saliba, I want your thoughts here. Does he deserve 200,000? Has he earned it? Has he merited signing a new deal worth 200,000? If the likes of Martin Odegaard are going to be up there on 200, if the likes of Saka are up there with, up there on 200, should we give William Saliba 200 as well? Big questions, but let me know in the comment box below. Right, let's start off with the big story from Jacob Steinberg from The Guardian. Now, he's been really reporting about Declan Rice in recent days, and that's why I'm really quoting him in recent videos. He's actually reported and said that West Ham have already communicated the decision to sell Declan Rice to all their new candidates, to all the candidates of their new role of Director of Football. Of course, they're looking for one. Paul Mitchell is leading the rest to sign as the next Director of Football at West Ham, and all the candidates have been told the same decision, that the player is already sold and he won't be staying with them after today. Of course, today is Wednesday. It's the big day that he says goodbye. It's the farewell. It's the day that he joins some of the best and biggest names at West Ham as captain, if he can win them a major trophy. I've already told you that if he wins them a major trophy, he will have achieved more than Cesc Fabregas achieved at Arsenal. Because Fabregas as captain did not win us any European silverware. He will have achieved more than Thierry Henry achieved for Arsenal as captain in Europe. Because again, Thierry Henry didn't win anything for Arsenal in Europe. On Europe, right? And he will have achieved more than captains like Robin van Persie at Arsenal, and even Mikel Arteta as well. So today is Wednesday. West Ham play Fiorentina in the final of the UEFA Conference League. No one thought and no one knew that this one was going to be a very big occasion, but trust me, it's going to be very, very big. It's going to be a lot of emotions, a roller coaster of emotions. Rice, of course, knows that it's going to be moving on to a rival that is Arsenal, and of course, we understand this evening that Bayern won't be able to spend 100 million on Declan Rice before sales, and even probably before July, because they have so many things to cover. They have so many things to deal with as a club, and they will be diving into that as well. So I think this is quite very clear from West Ham. And I love their plan and I love their pattern. They've already resigned to losing the player since January. They know he's going to leave, and they're already looking at potential replacements. I've had of a few, shouts here: Amadou Onana, James Ward-Prowse, here and there. I can't confirm who's going to replace Declan Rice, but I've already said, if you can get a James Ward-Prowse in there, probably 1 or 2 good seasons, and then you can find maybe one player from the academy, maybe one good buy, on the European continent. Okay, so tonight, 1, we have the final, and number 2, we have the grand farewell for Declan Rice. But again, the big decision today is Arsenal's new bid. Is Arsenal's bid for Declan Rice, according to Fabrizio Romano. After the game today, that is when West Ham will start receiving bids in from Arsenal, Bayern Munich, Manchester United, and all these other clubs that are pretending that they need Declan Rice more than we do. So today is going to be a very, very decisive moment, because 1, it means that we are out of the preparatory mode for our bids. It means now that we are on the second phase where we're going to be sending in the bids. And today for me is such a big day in this deal, because clubs like Bayern, clubs like Manchester United that are not willing to pay over 90 million, this is the day that they will stop being linked with Declan Rice. Why I would love Arsenal to go with a strong bid of about 80-90 million is if Manchester United, Chelsea, Bayern are not willing to go as high as 85, it means that Arsenal's bid will be in solitary. And that's what that is what I think we should do. We should sign Declan Rice without any competition. We should sign Declan Rice without a bidding war. If we go in with 60, maybe 70, that could attract so many other clubs to the situation. But if Arsenal decide to go strong and very, very high, many of the clubs will actually back down. So let's wait and see what's going to happen out of there. The bid is prepared. So after today, it could be tonight, it could be tomorrow morning, it could be this week, but after today, the bid will be going in as well. Now, there is some little clarification on Bayern Munich, and this is a very, very big story right now. And a very bad news for Bayern Munich fans. Thomas Tuchel really likes Declan Rice. He's one of the managers that really believe in his potential. He's one of the managers that really believe in Declan Rice. They have had conversations, extensive conversations, and the conversations have been really, really positive. However, the problem is Bayern have offered 159 million for the whole transfer window. That means they need to sign a midfielder on that money. They will need to sign a striker on that money. And probably if they lose Lucas Hernandez to PSG, they might need to sign a new centre back as well. So you look at the priorities for Bayern. I really think they need to rebuild that squad. It's not aging. It's not a bad squad, but I think it lacks the conviction of a Bayern Munich, right? It really lacks the real conviction of the Bayern that we know, right? You look at Joshua Kimmich in that midfield, and you feel like if you have 2 more good players ahead of him, that is that would be a better Bayern Munich than Goretzka maybe and Leroy Sané. But that's none of my business. My business is that Bayern might not be able to sign Declan Rice in the early days of the transfer window. If Arsenal can get this deal quickly done, Bayern will not be a match. It's the same thing with Manchester United. Eric Ten Hag is not planning on spending above 300 million. With him wanting a central midfielder, a defensive midfielder, a striker, a right back, a left back, a new goalkeeper, and a centre back, it looks like he's going to be looking at those bargain deals at the market. So Man United are not in poor position to sign Declan Rice as well. So competition might be coming in from Chelsea, who are willing to spend over 80-90 million on Deckers, and of course the big club Arsenal, who are also in position to spend such big money this summer. However, the bad news in this episode comes in from Spain, and of course Jacob Steinberg again with The Guardian reporting that Liverpool are now set to sign Gabriel Viega from Rayo Vallecano this summer after signing Mac Allister. Now we know that Chelsea, again this was reported yesterday, that Chelsea have turned their attention to Viega as a potential replacement for Kai Havertz. That is confirmed. Liverpool are also looking for a box-to-box midfielder, a central midfielder, and Gabriel Viega is the name they are looking at. Now I think with Gabriel Viega, Arsenal are in the middle of the road. And I think that is where we are. I think Mikel Arteta views Rice as a box-to-box midfielder, as a central midfielder. And what Rice adds to Arsenal is that ability to win the ball back with absolute ease. If you look at how he compares with all the other players in the Premier League in midfield, interceptions, number 1. Tackles, number seven in the Premier League. Ball recoveries, number 1 in the Premier League. Progressive ball carries, I think second in the Premier League. So I think Mikel Arteta is looking for that kind of energy in that central midfield role. Maybe he's not looking for the goals. Maybe he's not looking for a player who's going to assist as much, but he's looking for that kind of guy that can be as reliable, formidable, and durable in midfield. And that is Declan Rice. So I really love Gabriel Viega. I kind of feel like he's had a breakout season, and he reminds me of players like Cazorla, Isco, that prototype, prototype of players that are just exciting to watch, okay? But the good thing is that Arsenal are looking at 2 players in midfield, that is according to Damish Sheth on Sky Sports, and also James Ole from ESPN UK. Both of them are reporting that Arsenal are looking at 2 midfielders this summer. So it could be Caicedo and Viega, it could be Rice and Viega, it could be Rice and Caicedo, it could be any pair, right? It could be any pairing. It could be Rice and Gundogan. It could be Caicedo and Gundogan. So we're gonna be wait and see. But my problem with this one is it's such a bargain. If Liverpool sign Mac Allister for 30 million without competition, I don't even understand how Man United, Chelsea, Arsenal have let Liverpool sign Mac Allister without competition. It's a shame. Like, he's a top beans player, like top beans player for 30 million. All those clubs should be fighting for him, but Liverpool have signed him for just less than 45 million. It's ridiculous. It's purely ridiculous. And what's even more bizarre, if they go and sign Viega for 34 million, that is a combined 60 million for 2 world-class talents, and Liverpool could be back on the big stage without spending hundreds and hundreds of millions, all right? So, listen, I know we've had our own share of bargains. Odegaard at 30 million, that's an absolute steal. For a midfielder averaging 23 goal contributions a campaign, it's an absolute steal. But hey, Viega could be going to Liverpool if Arsenal do not speed up. And this is a word of caution for Arsenal. I think this is a window where we might need to be quick. We might need to be absolutely, I think the word I'm looking for in this instant is reactionary, right? I think we might need to be on our toes. We might need to use all the information on our fingertips very, very quickly. We must be very, very savvy. Now, the good news still coming in from Arsenal is that William Saliba is very close to agreeing a new deal with Arsenal. So the problem with this deal is that William Saliba's representatives and the player as well are not looking to sign away from Arsenal. So all these rumors of PSG, Barcelona, Real Madrid, they are true. All these clubs are monitoring the situation, but the player is not trying to force a move away from Arsenal. He's happy in England, he's happy in the Premier League, and would love to see himself playing for Arsenal in the UEFA Champions League. However, the wages, the salary is asking for is where the problem is. Arsenal are willing to offer around 100,000 per week. William Saliba and his camp want double that. Okay. And that's why I asked you in the introduction of this video, does he deserve it? Does he deserve 200,000? This is my opinion. A young player who has played 1 full season at Arsenal and he's been very influential deserves 100,000 per week. a young player of the talent of William Saliba, I think is one of those once in a while generational talents at centre back. He deserves 120,000, okay? But the fact that Saka signed a new deal worth 190k, I think Ramsdale has also signed a new deal, and then Odegaard is also going to sign a very, very lucrative deal. It means that we can't find a compromise between 150 and 130, right? Around there. That is where the compromise should be. If we give him 200 right now, he's going to become a world-class centre-back. And in the next 5 years, we could be looking at paying him 400,000 per week, okay? So we should be able to manage the situation right now. Give him 120k per week, and then in the next 3 years, we can, elevate him to maybe 200, and then in the next 5 years, he can go to around 250,000 per week, okay? But the agreement is very close. Talks are progressing very, very well as well. And for Reece Nelson, Fabrizio Romano has also just reported that a deal until 2027 has been agreed. 2 weeks ago, the player decided that he will be staying at Arsenal, not signing for Brighton, not signing for AC Milan as well. I would have really loved Reece Nelson at AC Milan. Like, I'm a big, big Milan fan. And the fact that Milan have signed Daichi Kamada, with Sandro Tonali in midfield and the likes of, Salamakers and Ismail Benasha, if you could add a player like Reece Nelson, direct, runner, hungry, top talent as well. Really, really top talent. But he will be staying at Arsenal until 2027. Yeah, this one doesn't make sense for me as an Arsenal fan. As a Dortmund fan, as a Milan fan, it makes a lot of sense. As an Arsenal fan, get him out and sign Moussa Diaby. Like, if we could get a player like Moussa Diaby in, I think Reece Nelson could be a good shout for a sell this summer. And finally, Fabrizio Romano said that there are no concrete talks for Nuno Tavares to Galatasaray from Arsenal. At the moment, it is what it is. There are no concrete talks between Arsenal and Galatasaray for the signature of Nuno Tavares. But what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing is that Arsenal will be willing to sell Nuno Tavares for a reported 20-25 million if it is tabled. I'll see you right in the next one. Hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast as well. It's going to be a very, very busy week ahead of us as we prepare for the arrival of Declan Rice and the departure of Granit Xhaka. I'll give you an update on Moises Caicedo in the next update. And of course, we will be talking about extensively on Joao Cancelo and the new forward that Arsenal are looking at. Because according to James Ollie, Arsenal have discussed signing a new forward. See you in the next one.